Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review I'm taking a look at one of the latest B&M releases, which is the Coal Hill School set featuring an Imperial Dalek and Ace. First off, a massive thank you to Jamie Bate, who very kindly grabbed these for me and sent them down to the southwest because we don't seem to have any of them around Bristol, although at the time of recording this I've just discovered that the sets are appearing in shops around Bristol. But a massive thank you to Jamie, he saved me a lot of trouble having to drive around looking for them. And as ever, let's begin by taking a look at the packaging. The figures come packaged in the familiar blue and grey window box with the TARDIS on the side and the gold foil limited edition sticker. The back of the box gives us a look at the figures inside, as well as offering a biography about the story and some production background about the Daleks and the continuity of the story. As ever, we're treated to a lovely diorama backdrop inside the packaging. This time it's the corridor in Coal Hill School, where Ace blows up the Dalek, which is exactly what the figures are representing, that great scene where the Dalek explodes. It's been lovingly recreated with all the details. We've got the board at the back there, the door leading down into the basement where the Dalek's transmat is, and over to the other side you've got the area where Ace fires the rocket launcher. It looks really great when you have your figures displayed there, so you can recreate those classic scenes. So out of the packaging we have our two figures. These are basically slight tweaks to existing figures that have been released before. The Imperial Dalek has been released a couple of times. It's a very sought after variant. It was first released with the 7th Doctor from Forbidden Planet, then it came out in the Remembrance of the Daleks set, and I think that might have been it. And then when we look at Ace, she was released single-carded, very unusually, in this exact same version with a variety of accessories, which we'll go into a little bit more. But both figures have been slightly tweaked from their initial releases, and the tweaks are definitely improvements. So we'll start off with Ace. So like I said, the original version of Ace came with a number of accessories. This version is no different, but she doesn't come with quite as many accessories as the original carded release. This time she has her rucksack, which we'll look at a bit more in a minute, and she has the rocket launcher, which also came with a carded release. The carded version also came with the baseball bat, a couple of cans of Nitro 9 that you could put in the backpack, and she also had interchangeable arms, so you could display her with the jacket on or off. This figure does not have interchangeable arms. I'll mention that right away. I have had a little go at seeing if you could pop the arms out, but they seem to be in there pretty tight, so I wouldn't advise you trying to rip the arms off of Ace. And even though the arms aren't removable, the rucksack is still easy to remove because it's soft plastic. It just slips over the arms and you can display her with or without the backpack, which is great. I was a bit unsure whether or not they would have glued that on, but it's nice to see that it's removable, and it's unusual to see so many accessories in a B&M set, but very welcome all the same. So let's take a closer look at Ace, starting with the head sculpt. So from what I can gather, this is the exact same sculpt that was used on the original version, but the paint apps have been improved significantly. When the first Ace came out, there were a lot of issues with Ace's eyes looking in various directions. My one was a bit weird. She was like looking off to the side and up a bit at a funny angle. So it's great that they've managed to revisit this figure and tweak that with a head sculpt, because now it looks a lot more like Sophie Aldred than that initial release. The paint apps are very neat and crisp around the eyes, the eyebrows, the lips. Very tidy. You can see she's got additional details such as the little blue earring here, which is actually Batman, but you can't see it at this scale. And then you've got the plait at the back with the little yellow band. And this is really well done. Like I said, much improved compared to the original. I'd love to show you a comparison of the two versions, but unfortunately all my figures are in lockdown at my parents' house and I can't get to them. So sorry that there won't be any comparisons. Moving down to the torso and the jacket, absolutely phenomenal the way that they've done all the badges, just like with the original release. This is really amazing because it isn't the sort of thing that I expected to see on a B&M release. Usually the paint apps are slightly simplified. Here they don't seem to have skimped at all. The paint apps are very, very well done, very detailed. You can see all of the different badges and lettering and stuff. Very nice indeed. Again, there doesn't appear to be any bleeds or anything like that. And then if you turn it over to the back, you see you've got the Ace badge, which has been sculpted and then painted over the top, so it really pops. It's a really, really great looking figure. And then underneath you've got her white top with the instruments and the musical notes. Again, very well done, very neat and crisp. and it just looks great. And then moving down, we've got the black skirt, which is just cast in black PVC like the jacket, and then black leggings and the glossy black boots. So even though the figure is predominantly black, there are varying finishes, so the gloss and the matte helps break it all up, and the sort of semi-gloss makes it look like it's that synthetic material. And then if we move over to the accessories, we've got the rucksack, which is exactly the same sculpt as before, so much so you can see there's the hole for the baseball bat and the little tab at the bottom where you would pull that out to put the Nitro 9 and the baseball bat in. This has been glued in, so you can't do that. Again, a great sculpt, looks just like it did in the show. It's got simple but very neat paint apps with the grey portions of the backpack. Moving on to the other accessory, the RPG. This is very detailed. It's cast in black with the main shaft, and then you've got the handles and the trigger, which have been picked out in brown and silver. Again, lots of detail there. You can see all the ridges on the handle and things like that. And then you've got the rocket at the end, which is cast in green with the yellow band and the silver on the tip. And this is actually removable, so you can make it look like she's fired the rocket, or you can recreate that cliffhanger where she's on the floor and she's got the rocket just in her hand. In terms of articulation, she has a joint at the neck, swivel joints at the shoulders so they can go forward and backwards and out to the sides, articulation at the biceps, swivel joints at the elbows, at the wrists, articulation at the waist, at the hips going forwards and out to the side, of course hindered by this PVC plastic skirt, at the thighs, and also a swivel joint at the knee. So plenty of articulation to pose her in dynamic ways. So overall, this is a fantastic figure, beautiful paint apps, great sculpt. I love the fact that they've revisited it and improved the paint apps on the face. It looks so much better compared to the original release. And the original release was great. It was a fantastic figure, but it did just lose points in the paint apps on the face. So this is a definite improvement and really great if you missed out on that original carded release. So then we move on to the Imperial Dalek. Like I said at the start, this is a sought after variant, hard to get these days. And I know people are already buying these sets in droves because there's lots of aces ending up on eBay at the moment. But this is another fantastic figure, another great improvement on what's gone before. And there's some lovely symmetry with this being the final release from B&M this year, because of course we had the History of the Daleks set from the Daleks, the very first Dalek story, and now we have the very last classic Dalek story getting a set as well. So we've had the first and last Daleks from the original run of Doctor Who. So let's start off taking a look at the dome. Paint job is lovely. You've got this off-white ivory cream colour. It's really gorgeous. I love the Imperial Daleks. It's a very cool look. Very 80s, but it looks fantastic. You've got the rather fancy disc-like dome lights, which are transparent, but they've been finished off with gold on the top. And then we come to our first improvement, which is the eye stalk. Originally, the first version came with a much longer sort of 1970s Dalek eye stalk, which was painted in the same way, but with a blue iris. The blue iris, of course, being incorrect. It was then re-released with a smaller eye stalk, again in the same colours with the incorrect blue. This time around they've opted for an 80s eye stalk, which is a much better scale, and they've painted it in the correct colours, except for the iris. The iris this time is black, whereas the real props, they were silver. I'm not sure why they still haven't done it silver, but what I will say is the black is a vast improvement. A massive, massive improvement, I've got to say. It looks so much better and it works so well. So I'm really glad that they've addressed that. Moving down to the neck bin, the mesh here has been painted gold with the collar slats in cream. Very well painted, there's no bleeds or anything like that. And then we move down to the shoulder section with the mesh. Now, the original versions didn't have this mesh sculpt, as you can see between the slats. This sculpt was then tweaked for the Renegade Dalek that came out with the 7th Doctor in the Toys R Us set. And because the sculpt was tweaked, there's no way to change it back. So that means that in order to re-release this Dalek, it was going to have the mesh. Now, I know some people are going to be disappointed with that. Personally, I'm not that bothered because, honestly, you really can't see it all that well, the mesh. It doesn't really detract from the figure. And the thing is, with the Imperial Daleks, the sculpts of this Dalek toy is completely inaccurate to what we see in the TV series anyway. The actual Dalek props were brand new props. They were taller, they were much steeper at the front. So really the whole thing is off if you're going to be picky about it. So the fact that they've just reused the mesh sculpt, it doesn't really bother me. And like I said, you really can't see it all that well. Had it have been painted in a different colour, then you probably would have seen it better. But because it's just white, you really can't see it. So I'm not bothered about that. I think it still works very well and it makes for a great looking Dalek. And all of those slats have been painted in the same bronzish gold. It's not the same gold that was used on the previous versions. Like I said, unfortunately, I can't compare them for you, but it is a bit more of a bronze colour, and I think that works really well. It offsets very well with that cream colour. And then going down to the gun box area, we've got the hexagon between the gun and the plunger, which looks great. And then we have the gun stick painted in the same gold bronze, and the same with the plunger. From what I understand, the plunger has been tweaked again. It looks great to me. One thing I will point out is that when I got this, the plunger was really bent quite badly. It was a very easy fix. You can see here, this is what it looked like when it came out of the packaging, but I fixed it for this review. And that was just a simple dip it in boiling hot water for like a couple of seconds, taking it out and straightening out the plastic. But the plastic on this is very, very soft. It probably could snap. It does feel far bendier than on other Daleks, so something worth pointing out. Then moving down to the skirt and the fender, this is all painted the same off-white ivory colour with the goldish bronze colour for the hemispheres. And there's no bleeds here. Probably the neatest Dalek that I've had from the B&M sets this year. Articulation-wise, it's a Dalek figure. It's like every other Dalek figure that you've ever owned. It can move forward and backwards on the two wheels at the back, and then the swivelling wheel at the front. It has articulation at the dome, a pivoting eye stalk, and ball-jointed plunger and gun stick. So to round off, I've got to say this is a fantastic set. I was really looking forward to getting this one because I love the Imperial Daleks. I think it's a great look. It's a shame that the Daleks didn't ever come back in this white and gold. They look very snazzy, and the re-release of Ace is a great improvement on the original, and if you missed out on that version of the figure, then you will definitely want to pick up this one because, you know, Ace is one of the best Doctor Who companions that the series ever had. So yeah, all in all, a very good set. I hope everyone manages to get hold of them. Have a bit of patience, they should be appearing soon. So thank you all for watching. I hope you managed to get hold of your sets. Obviously, be safe where you go out and do it. And yeah, I'll see you all for the next review, which is the Witch's Familiar set with the 12th Doctor and Davros. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye!